Every week, players gather at their local game stores. They trade, and they battle valiantly for both fun and glory. But amidst their triumph, only two will make it to the finals to fight. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Final Fights. Today we've got Blackbeard versus Marco. Both players are currently undefeated, making their way to the finals of my LGS. And we're going to see who here. I didn't catch the die roll, so I'm not actually sure who took the play here. Likely we're going to make good old Teach take the play, as it kind of favors good old Blackbeard to take second, so I assume Marco won the dice roll here. Marco, pretty solid. Not sure about its matchup into Teach here, but we'll see how this game develops. If Marco can kind of do some big splashy plays later in the game, we might be able to see Marco kind of pull ahead. Marco also has some access to some rush threats, right? Like 7 cost Ace, as well as 5 cost Ace is another option just to rush in and be a little hard to remove as well. We see the feat on turn 1 from Blackbeard, looking at the top 5, looking for a nice candidate. We're going to pick up a Shiryu here. Likely is going to have a target here on this next turn if Marco decides to play out something. Marco known for maybe having a few low drops, right, to try to allow them to get into some of their Dawn minusing effects. And we see My Era Begins as well, picking up another card. We've got just so many surges here on this first turn, looking pretty good for Blackbeard as he picks up the new blocker from the starter deck as well. No stage, admittedly, on these first few turns. I assume some of these searches were probably looking for a stage, but no stage to be found here. We see a 5k swing into lead. Marco debating on if they want to take this one or just let... Yep, they're just going to go ahead and take that. We're going to see activation of leader effect. Nice enough of the Blackbeard player to have a little token on board to let us know when Blackbeard's has negated on play effects. And we can see if that specific token next to the leader is tapped, then we know on plays are stopped. And we're going to see, first off, an attach to Marco. You can see an activation, draw one, put one on the bottom. We could give minus 2,000 to the defeat. Likely going to be something we're going to clean up this turn, because we just can't let Blackbeard keep getting away with some card advantage here. And we're just going to clean up that Lafitte here, which is basically a blocker. And we're just going to play out Emporio Vankov. Emporio Vankov does not really do anything this turn, though on future turns, if you get six or less cards in hand, you do get to draw a card off of its one attacking effect. But I think the big part of that card is just being able to play something off the top when it comes into play. But no on-play effects means it's gone. And kind of reading into the plan here, Blackbeard picks up the Shiryu the turn before that does pop at 3 or less, so it does have a pretty standard lineup here. And we're going to see a 5k go into lead yet again. Marco really should try to counter out of this one potentially. Doesn't want to drop too low, as it's going to make the rest of the game just get a whole lot harder. But maybe Marco's hand either bricked up or potentially has a whole lot of playable options here, as Marco's definitely in the tank every time he gets swung into. We're going to see a Monet 1k counter come out. We're going to see Kuzan come out. Kuzan likely, this is going to be some kind of combo play here. We're going to activate Teachability, pitch something, and then looks like we're just going to pass here. Not too afraid of the Ivankov just yet, but Ivankov will get to draw some cards potentially here, as I think we kind of hit the threshold for what can happen here. So we're going to activate leader effect again. Always good to get a Dawn on Marco, just kind of see some additional cycling, be able to see some at least one card deeper every turn. Try to set up your and map out your plays here, kind of get some of these maybe more brickier cards in the matchup out of hand, as you can see them going to the bottom here. And we'll see what ends up happening. 5 Dawn left. Emporio pretty solid as like a way to just keep refilling hand and poking. We're gonna see a 5k swing go in. We do have 6 or less in hand, so we're gonna draw a card. And we're gonna see our first swing into leader here this game for Marco. Just gonna take that first one here. No trigger off the top. Likely gonna be maybe a 6k swing here. Yep, gonna 6k to lead. If we've got a 2k, we might give it up, but we also might just kind of take these free easy swings, and we're just gonna 2k out of that one. And only 4 Dawn left for Marco, which means like no rush threats potentially, right? No 5-drop Marco or 5-drop Ace. Instead, we're gonna see a Mass Deuce, and Blackbeard's reading the card. I also not certain what that card does. That is a card from OP11. I believe it's power-based removal. Let's see here. Mass Deuce, OPTCG. Another time I gotta look up a card here. Mass Deuce. Dawn X2, 2k counter, Dawn X2, 3000 power. When attacking, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with cost with power 2 or less, 2000 or less. So it is a potential way to swing and KO some things. Now Blackbeard, most of his threats are relatively resilient against KO. Though no no Burgess in sight just yet here, which is our big resilient threat. We'll see here what Blackbeard ends up doing. We're gonna see a 5k swing into Vonkov, just immediately letting that go. I guess doesn't want to give the Shuryu value because there is one in yard, and he knows that's a potential target to KO. We're gonna see 5k swing, gonna get a 1k counter. We're gonna see an activation of Kuzan, drawing a card, and then putting something into play out of the yard here. And yeah, unfortunately, looks like he just picked up the Burgess off the draw, which means he can't pitch it in between, which means he can't get the Burgess into play, unfortunately. But we're going to see instead a 7-drop Teach come down and clean up the other character. Marco, nothing on board here, and a pretty menacing side of the board from Teach here. Teach still sitting at 4 life. Teach has a way to KO 6 cost or less characters right now with this combination of Van Augur and the 7-drop Teach here. So pretty scary, honestly, sitting on the other side, as likely whatever you play this turn could just get instantly KO'd on the other side, especially if they have some additional cost reduction in hand, which currently does not look like they have too much cost reduction. But we're going to see, again, an activation here, likely going to be setting that Teach down minus 2,000 here. Could angle a way to swing into it, but I think instead we might have just set it on the Augur. So we're going to see, yep, so the minus 2,000 was on the Augur, and then we see the good old Newgate come down. Again, on plays are off, so no attached Dawn to leader from Newgate's effect, but Newgate able to activate main and clear out some of this combo machine that Blackbeard's built up here. So now this 7-cost Blackbeard, not nearly as scary as it was on previous turns, just because it doesn't have any additional cost reduction right now. And looks like not a whole lot of cost reduction in hand as well. Gonna pick up a 10-drop Teach for the turn, but on the 9-Don turn, not much going on here. Likely just going to be a little bit of setup here, as we've got a Lafitte. We've also got the 5-drop Kuzan blocker, which could see play here. We're going to see a single at 5k. 5k has been incredibly spicy against Marco. Marco just not wanting to give too much counter, or at least getting a little nervous every time a swing comes at him. It really makes me wonder what's going on in Marco's hand. Only 4 cards now in Marco's hand, but still sitting relatively pretty at 3 life. And we'll see what Teach decides to do. Looks like we're gonna go for a good old 12k swing into Newgate. Gonna try to challenge Newgate here. Marco did give a 2k away, so maybe it would have been better to take the life and then keep the 2k to save the Newgate. Now that the Newgate's gone, Marco's not gonna have as easy of a way to clean up some of these bodies on board. We do have the new, I guess it's not too new now, but the blocker for good old Blackbeard, the Devon. Now that card does have more than one ability, right? Can become a blocker, can become a banish attacker or a double attacker. But instead we find the second Newgate, so Newgate number 2. So maybe that's why we weren't too afraid of losing the first Newgate. Is we've got another Newgate coming down, and that Newgate immediately cleaned up that blocker. You can see the good old Blackbeard player already just like put it away. As soon as Newgate came down, just immediately put it away. So you knew that's what it was going to attack. But anyways, we saw an 8k swing into 8k, but we're just going to give a 1k to save our 7-drop Teach, and we are on the turn of the 10-drop. So time to start slamming them down. This may be the time. We're going to see a 5k swing, just immediately going to take it here. We're going to swing an 8k swing here. Are we going to see a take as well? No, we're going to see 1 2k, 2 2ks, and then we're going to see good old Teach come down. Teach, he is the boss monster of the deck. He's going to immediately invalidate that Newgate here, and very unfortunate, as it's the only character on board for Marco. Marco just not able to kind of see some mid-game aggression here, which is what's usually pretty good against Blackbeard. But Blackbeard really just setting up now. Leader ability's off. We got a Burgess in the yard that could potentially be picked up off of the death of that other Blackbeard on the table. That Blackbeard specifically has an on KO of grabbing anything out of the trash. We're gonna see a huge swing, 13k swing. It looks like into the big old 8k, and that would require at least a block and a 2k. But instead we're going to see that just immediately give it up. I think he even had the 2k in hand to potentially save it, but I think instead just kind of valuing the effect of 7-drop Teach here, being able to get back any black card out of your yard, which is allows him to pick up the Burgess. And Burgess is kind of the way to finish the game here for the Teach side, just a way to get some really hard to remove things on the board. And we see a Duval on the other side, so Duval still no on plays, but just a cheap blocker here to try to let Marco survive a little bit longer here. But we'll see what ends up happening. We're likely going to see like a combination of Kuzan immediately going to cash it in, picks up another Burgess off the Kuzan draw, which is absolutely hilarious. When you want to see those Burgesses come into play off the Kuzans, but the deck just absolutely taunting him here. But instead, we're going to see the Shiryu. Shiryu is going to clean up the blocker with his activate main effect. And we do have enough Dawn to play out, to swing 6 and still play out a Burgess. So Blackbeard just having a pretty solid turn here. You're going to see that 6k swing go into lead, and we're going to play the Burgess out and pitch the other Burgess off a leader ability. We are now what I consider in the end game here, as we got a Teach on board. We've got a Burgess. That Burgess is looking pretty huge right now. It is at least a 9k Burgess right now, and it being immune to KO effects, pretty good right now. If Marco could see something like a bounce effect, right, or like a gravity blade, that would be pretty good. Gravity blade could clean up both Shiryu and the good old Burgess to allow at least Marco to survive maybe for a few additional turns here. But without any cost reduction from hand, it's going to be pretty difficult for that new gate to be able to clean up the 12k power Blackbeard. And I know since on plays were off, it would have to be event-based removal. So we'll see here what ends up happening. 9 more Dawn to work with. Counting out a bit of Dawn here. And we're gonna play Honesty Impact. So that is one way to get around it here. Honesty Impact does allow you to and make sure he tapped the right way for it. There we go. The Marco gave the teach character minus 2,000, making it 10k, and then good old Honesty Impact gives something minus 4k, and then KOs is 6k or less. So it is able to clean up the good old good old teach. And then we're going to see Raise Max come down. Raise Max minus 3,000 to I guess the Shiryu, because the Shiryu is a 7k on your opponent's turn to clean up the Shiryu with the good old Newgate. And we're going to see an 8k swing at lead and pass back to good old Blackbeard's turn. Great turn from Marco, honestly. Like Honesty Impact, fantastic card, new addition from OP11, just allowing him to clean up that Blackbeard here. But I think good old Blackbeard's going really aggressive. We see a 10k at lead, and then now we're going to see a huge discard from hand, discarding all the cards in hand, doing a huge swing into lead. And yeah, Burgess is unfortunately able to clean it up for the Marco's sake, but Blackbeard just able to withstand some of this removal. Unfortunately, Marco just not able to get onto the board fast enough to try to contest in the mid game, and unfortunately, you can't really beat Blackbeard once you're in the late game. It gets pretty hard. But anyways, if you enjoy this type of content, definitely subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.